All right. Hey, what's up, guys? Hey, it's Jamie. It is September 30th, 2022. It's Friday going into the weekend as the month ends. A couple things coming up. I got my oldest son will be 21 next month. Hurricane Ian just completely devastated Southwest Florida, doing billions and billions of dollars worth of damage. I don't know what the actual number is. I heard 30, 40 billion. I heard 60, 70 billion dollars worth of insurance claims. Now, I went to high school in Cape Coral and, went to middle school down in that area. So I spent some years down there. I know that area really well. And I have some friends, down there. Their families are down there. So I hope, my hope is everybody's okay and safe and they're able to rebuild. As the infrastructure was just really, wiped out. Right? I heard, houses completely wiped off the land. Just the foundation left is what the reports were. So, and it was just a really great, not great. There's nothing great about it, but it was a really clear example of things that happen to us in life, like hurricanes come in our lives, extreme events that could be financial trauma, right? Financial things that happen to us, meaning like somebody steals from you, you go through a divorce, I don't know, you lose a job. There's different situations where you get in jeopardy of financial ruin, and then there's your health, right? People get sick unexpectedly, where that affects them financially as well, and the family and everybody else. You get hurt. I know somebody I talked about who was a close friend of mine who broke his neck in a tragic accident. That severely affected his life and changed his whole life. And on, right? Like, I don't need to go all the negative things that happen, but there's so many things that come up in life along the way with whatever time God gives us that are things we have to deal with, right? That are difficult. And the better prepared we are, I use that word probabilities a lot. As my oldest son, and I had these conversations, we were talking about savings and checking account and like, that type of thing. And I was just telling him the other day, you want to make sure you have enough money so you don't get overdrawn in your daily and monthly living expenses, right? So you only have so much money coming in. So if he has, $2,000 a month that he brings in, I don't know I actually don't know the number, but, there's certain expenses that he has. And what I was trying to express to someone, to him or someone like him, if you have no children, right, no pets, he doesn't own a home, the car he has no car payment, just car insurance. So you say, like, you don't have a lot of liabilities or responsibilities, when you have children and a mortgage and certain things that make it get thrown on your shoulders financially that you're accountable for, that if you don't pay them, it affects your credit, right? You get in debts, it impacts you negatively. So I was trying to teach him the importance of knowing a budget. Now, there's a lot of people that will talk about your budget. Dave Ramsey, Grant Cardone, any number of people that are in that space that can give you advice. But I think having a budget's important, where you say, okay, I got this much for my rent, this much for my cell phone, this one for my gas, insurance if you have car insurance, and just kind of list it, whether you write it down, whether you put it on your phone, whether you have it in a laptop, somewhere where it's in front of your face, it's there, so you know what you're spending every day, every week, every month, and then you can kind of track it. A guy I worked for, Mr. B, used to say, I can't manage what I can't measure. I can't manage what I can't measure. So if you have money that you're spending every month, whether it's on just stuff you don't need or spending excessively on stuff, right, that you're splurging and say, now I've done that many, many times throughout my younger years. especially where I've blown, you know, I don't even know how much money, but tens of thousands of dollars on just dumb stuff, and getting myself in debt and paying high interest loan and all these different things because nobody showed me, nobody told me otherwise, and I wouldn't have listened anyway because I had my own way of thinking. If somebody had planted a few seeds, maybe when I hit my first rock bottom, when I hit my first I would have been more like, oh, so and so told me about this. I should pay better attention. So I think it's important that we share this message, right? That we encourage another, say, like, gives a warning. Look, if you don't plan now, then you're going to have a lot of difficulty later on, and sometimes it's tougher to recover. Okay, I'm not saying you shouldn't make mistakes, but the topic today is about budgeting. And whether you're investing, like, so using my son Mason as an example, who is going to be 21 years old, I was saying the probabilities of you being successful are far greater if you start practicing these things today than if you started at 40 or 50 or 60, right? Because your time horizon is greatly shortened. So you got to start doing these disciplines today, right? Now, here's a guy who's in the military, and if you're a military person and you go to any boot camp, right, they toughen you up mentally, physically. They want you to be able to get broken down so you can take orders, right, and stop being, fighting. I think like my daughter. Like my daughter sometimes I'll say, "Hey, go to bed." No, I don't want to. I'm not tired. I do tantrums and stuff. Like, you got to be able to be disciplined and obedient, right, in certain regards, right? Because it's if you can't do that, then you're gonna have a really tough time. You got to take orders, and you have to be accountable, right, to your boss, or if you're part of a team, or to yourself if you're trying to accomplish a goal. All right, I'm not telling you to be a slave. I'm not telling you to just lay down and accept everybody's, if it's something's not right. But what I'm saying is like, if you're part of a team. Now, I never was in the military, even though a lot of my family has been. I have been part of several sports teams, and in the sports teams, you listen to the coach, and you had to do a lot of things that weren't comfortable. Run laps, do these drills, practice over and over again. But it made you better, it made you stronger, it built up your stamina, it made you a better athlete, and that's it. So, if you can have a budget today at 20 years old or 16 years old or 25 years old, then you can get in that habit of living off a smaller portion of your income. Pay your taxes, right? And then pay yourself, right? Whatever that number is. Some guys say 20%, some guys say 40%. But pay yourself and then live off of the rest. And that's the tough part, is what's the rest? And how you live. Like I keep talking about, like, I have a little Jetta GLI. It's a 2019 Jetta GLI, and it's a nice little car. It's good in gas, and it does what I need it to. And when I leased it, I was paying about $300 a month. Now, I could do far more if I wanted to. I could afford a far nicer car. And I don't mean that like I can afford a nicer car. I'm not trying to sound like that. I'm saying that if I wanted to buy a Porsche or something, a Range Rover, and have a high payment, or just lay out the money, then I could. But to me, with what I've learned, it's not really a good investment, for me. I'm not saying for you. Like, if you have an excess amount of money, maybe you need to. But for me, I try to look at like liabilities and assets. Liabilities are like, the car does its job. I need to drive somewhere, right? I need to go somewhere. And most of the part, I don't need a truck. I don't need an SUV. If I need one, I'll borrow my wife's Yukon or my mother-in-law's Jeep Grand Cherokee. If I need that space, I'll just use their truck. Or I could borrow a truck from my work, right? I don't need a pickup, or I could rent one. I don't need a pickup truck. I don't need a big SUV. I need something that just gets me where I need to go. And I'm trying to keep my expense to a minimum. So my investment in the car is tires and brakes, make sure it's safe. I do have a warranty I purchased because it's out of warranty. So I purchased a warranty because I don't want to have some unexpected large expense come up. So for the amount of money that it cost me to the amount of coverage that I have for the term and the mileage, it's worth that investment, which is, a different topic. So, but I invested the money into the vehicle, the minimum amount to make sure it's safe and does what I needed to do, right? So budgeting, when you see it in front of your face every day and you start to get in that habit, right? Like every day I wake up, this is going to sound silly, I brush my teeth, I take a shower. Now the shower for me is just, it helps me wake up, right? Whether I'm stinky or dirty or not, it's just something I do where I'm like, this helps me to wake up. I take a shower, and I get water in my face, I get going, and it always wakes me up, no matter how tired I am, right? It gets me going, and I feel refreshed and ready to go. And, brush my teeth, like little, like things that I do habitually, like religiously, like a routine. And that helps me go in my day. So if I have certain money that I'm going to spend every day and I set aside, I'm like, okay, I'm going to get a coffee. Maybe I'll get a Kind bar or something. I don't have to do that. I can survive without it. But, there's certain things I allocate that I spend so that at the end of the week, end of the month, and I can look at income, earned income or dividends or passive income or whatever that money is that I have coming in. How does it go out? Do I have more money coming in that's going out? And when you have more money coming in that's going out, then you're like, so the money's coming in, okay? The money's going out, and then you're left with this much, right? You're left with $500, $5,000, $50,000, whatever that number is. And now it's like, what do I do with that money? Well, you don't want to just go buy dumb stuff you don't need. You want to buy stuff that's not going to bring more money in. I'm not saying don't go treat yourself and do a couple fun things, or whether it's a vacation or buying stuff that you might need, a pair of sneakers, going out to eat once in a while, doing some stuff. But you're like, I have this extra money. How do I reallocate it? Where do I invest it? Where do I put the money? And what I was trying to explain to my son is the first step, in my humble opinion, before you start investing, in stocks and real estate and precious metals and all these other things that you can do with the money, you first got to save up 10 grand, right, for yourself. I could give him 10 grand, but that's not going to teach him anything. I'm like, you got to save up 10 grand, because then you're going to feel like, I did this. I saved up $10,000, right? I have no other responsibilities, no pets, no children. I don't have any rent because he's in the military, so they provide housing. I don't have a lot of money coming in, but I should be able to save $10,000. And if I'm not, why am I not? What am I doing? What am I spending my money on? If you don't know what you're spending your money on, right, how are you going to manage what you can't measure? You got to be able to see. We need to see how we're spending our money, because sometimes we don't even know. We don't even know there's leaks in the boat. Like, oh my gosh, look, I lifted up this and there's a leak there, right? So you got to patch it and fix it and say, okay, I'll solve that. I've had subscriptions to things I don't even use. It cost me like a little bit of money, $5, $10 a month, and dumb stuff that if I wasn't looking for or paying attention, it just keeps siphoning out. So there might be some subscriptions or memberships that you pay that you don't need, or you don't even know you're doing, that you mistakenly signed up for. A lot of times you go online now and they'll say, hey, sign up, free 7 days, free 30 days, and then we'll bill you. And you forget about it. And then they're siphoning off this money from you for some product or service you might never use again. So there's a million examples of how we spend money excessively. But the first step, this is for people that just are not good managing their money, right? They have no idea. This is like 101 basics versus the veterans that are like, hey, what stock are we doing today? What are you doing? What are you investing in? Oh, that's not what I'm talking about. I had the conversation with my son, and I'm trying to teach you the first step is budgeting your money, budgeting how much money you're spending every week, every month, every year, starting there. And if you're 20 years old, you have a lot of time, God willing, to figure out the rest. You got to say, well, first, it doesn't matter if I'm only making 20 grand a year, right? When I get to 50 or 100 grand a year, or 200 grand a year, or 2 million a year, or whatever that amount is, I got to start with this 10 or 20 grand. And how I'm managing that money, how I'm spending it, how I'm budgeting the money I have coming in, because it's going to be the same process. This comes in, this goes out. I live off of this much, I pay myself off of that much, and the rest goes to taxes and necessary things I have to spend. Okay, I think that's the basic rule of managing your money, is figuring that part out, and just throwing 10 grand, 5 grand. I mean, I set a goal of 10 grand for him, because 10 grand makes you kind of have a benchmark over a period of time, set an expiration date, say in 1 year, or less, I want to have 10 grand saved that I don't use to go out and buy something stupid. It's just like, I got that. Phase 1, next level, right? And then you kind of go to the next thing. But that is my lesson of the day for budgeting. And again, my thoughts and prayers go to the people in Florida, and also as Hurricane Ian heads to South Carolina. I hope everybody is safe and gets through this. Okay, I'll talk to you guys next time. Have a great day. Bye.